Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for joining us again on a podcast, my thumbprint on turning 50. Today we have the beautiful guest, Svi. Now, I've known Svi for 7 years. We met training for Kokoka. We trained for about 11 months. And then did Kokoka together, which was one of the best experiences of my life.
Absolutely.
And I really look up to Svi and Marion and how, at their age, they live their life to the fullest. So we'll have Svi on. He's going to tell us his story. And that's pretty much it. Svi, welcome.
Thanks, Frank. Where do you want me to begin?
In the beginning.
Beginning.
Where were you born?
Okay. Well, as you probably can hear, I wasn't born in Australia. I was born in New Jersey in 1951.
Which makes you...
So I'm a baby boomer. In fact, I'll just have to show you that. That's why I have these. Okay, boomer. I'm a boomer. I'm proud of it. You can say, okay, boomer to me all you want. I love it. Which means if you love it, you're not really a boomer. But I am. I was a baby boomer generation. Born in 51 in New Jersey, in the Jersey Shore, which is, if you know Bruce Springsteen, his first big album was called Greetings from Asbury Park. And Asbury Park's a city on the coast, on the Jersey Shore. Wonderful place to grow up. And I went to public school there, secondary school.
Brothers and sisters?
Yep. I have an older sister, Jane, and a younger sister, Elizabeth. And they're both in America to this day. I've seen Liz a lot. She comes here and we go there. Don't see my other sister too much. It's one of those, they've got their own life and doesn't include me.
Okay.
But that's okay. And, some cousins. But we moved here in 85 because I met my wife, Marion, who's from Kew. We met in Jerusalem because both of us had independently wanted to give life in Israel sometime. And it was in 1975. I had finished uni, was already a teacher, primary school teacher. I went to Israel. I had been in Israel in 1972 for 3 months during uni and wanted to go back. She had been on a trip on her own. She wanted to go back, and we met in July of 75. And she's in the other room to this very day. There she is. So. And we got married in Jerusalem, lived in Jerusalem, but it was a very hard life in Israel and decided it wasn't for us. Went back to the States. I got back into teaching there. Had our 2 daughters, Marcy and Naomi. Naomi lives not far from here, and Marcy's also not far from here, Clarinda and Aspendale.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
No.
Now you're thinking to yourself, gee, he's just
it's just gone
5 minutes and he's still talking about...
No, he's just done your whole life. So back to being younger.
Yes.
Did you like school? Primary school?
I did. I loved primary school. I enjoyed high school, but loved primary school. I think one of the reasons I'm a teacher is I had some very good teachers myself in primary school in particular, and I just liked going to school.
And you liked sports? As a young...
Growing up, I was desperate to be good in sports. I loved sports. I was convinced I was going to be the next Mickey Mantle of the New York Yankees. He was an all-star center fielder, poster boy. Only two things standing in the way: lack of talent and this body of mine. But
apart from that, you had it.
And I played baseball, Little League baseball. Couldn't hit the ball to save my life because I had very big buck teeth, and my mother kept saying, watch the teeth, because we were going to get braces one day, and she wanted them perfect for the braces. So I was just always pulling, like when the ball comes in like this. Could never hit the ball. But I played basketball just for fun. Did a lot of running. Was a track athlete of mediocre talent, but I enjoyed it in high school, long distance. So I loved sports, loved reading. Just, we had a good life. Have you seen the TV show, The Wonder Years?
Yes.
Well, we were like 10 years before that era, my mates and I, but it was like that. Riding your bike down the street, playing baseball somewhere, just seeing going fishing, digging for worms. We did all those things. It really was just a normal life.
The basic fun.
Yeah. Built a tree house. No great dramas. It was good fun.
Safe?
I never felt at any risk from, like today, today's stranger danger and this and that and neighborhood watch. We didn't know from that. Really, this sounds like out of the movies or something. But it was like 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Bye, Mom. Where you going? I'm going off. We're meeting the guys. Okay, be home by dinner.
That was it?
That was it. Never, where were you? Why didn't you call? Hold on, call me every hour. Nothing. It was just good.
And just in saying that, do you think we worry too much about our kids?
We do.
And do we need to, or is it just
we do not.
I agree.
We do not. I think what's changed is because of social media and media in general, we're so more aware of things that happen, but they're not happening in any greater frequency. And, I mean, God forbid, there's child abuse or child abductions, or things happen.
Yeah.
But I don't think the rate of it is happening any greater, and the risk is no greater than it was when we were children.
It's probably greater in a sense as a bigger population, but that doesn't mean it's worse.
Yeah, I mean, proportionally. Yeah. I don't have the crime statistics. I'm not a criminologist, but
here's what I'm prepared to do.
But yes, and I still do some volunteer teaching at the synagogue, and I love doing that. And the kids come in, the 12 years old. He's got his bottle of water in his hand. I said, I need my bottle of water. I said, you don't need a bottle of water. It's 12 degrees and cloudy outside. You don't need your bottle of water, but you have to drink water. Okay, Daniel, have the bottle. And it's sort of that. Someone told him you need your water and have to have his water. If you tell him you can't have his water, you're going to get it. Okay, have your water. I use that as an example.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit too helicoptering as parents and as older generation. They call that helicopter.
Yeah, just
hovering around.
Let them be.
In fact, my daughter just 2 weeks ago let my granddaughters walk by themselves to the shop and cross this is in Clarinda. And she said, here's the phone. If you need me, you call, but I'm not following you. You know the way. You know how to cross the street. Go.
How old are the kids? 25, 26? Go.
11 and 9.
Okay.
Which is a good age. That's a good age to start. So, but I do think that's the anomaly. Most kids today are driven everywhere, I believe. And I don't know. Look, don't get me started. Okay, boomer. That's right. Okay, boomer. You're talking like a baby boomer. In my day, we had to...
When I was a boy, there was snow in the hills. Now, university?
I went to a college, same thing. In America, university and college is the same thing. Called Union College in upstate New York. So those of you who know America, upstate New York is you get to New York City, you just keep going north to Canada and stop halfway. It's a beautiful area. Schenectady, New York. The place was called Union College. And I was totally lost my first 2 years, unfortunately. It was during the Vietnam War, though. So to avoid the draft, the first year, you had to go to uni. In those days, you had what's called a student deferment. And because I was still a student at a university, I wasn't up for the draft, which did exist then. Of course, all the kids who weren't lucky enough to go to university or had the money to go to university were drafted. So it was a real big racial issue in America.
Oh, okay.
Not that all blacks didn't go to uni and all whites did, but look, I was upper middle class from a good family. I was going to go to uni. My parents could afford to send me, so I didn't have that to worry about. Other kids did, and they got drafted.
Yeah.
But that ended in my first year, and then it was a lottery like we had here. And luckily, my number and my date, my birthday, my lottery number were such that I was never going to be drafted. So I avoided the draft.
So how did they work that if they pulled out this date?
Date from this barrel, number from this. So it wasn't like November 13th was date number 1. It was November 13th, 272. That was my number. Yeah.
Oh, fair income.
Yeah, it's televised, and and I knew that high number meant I wasn't going to be drafted. But the connection with uni is I went to uni not to avoid the draft, but it was just going to happen.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't ready. I didn't know what I wanted to study. So I stumbled along the first year. Second year was marginally better. And I go back after that. And my father, who was a hard man, loving man, but a hard man, did one of the greatest things ever. He said, okay, if you don't want to go back, don't worry, we'll sort it out. And of course I went back because he took the pressure off of not going back.
Okay.
But I went back. But that was the summer I did my first big travel which was I rode my bicycle with a mate across America from New Jersey, not the whole way, New Jersey, up to New Jersey's here, Chicago, right across to the Rocky Mountains. There we basically stopped pedaling and took trains to Seattle. But it was 10 weeks. And that event sort of set my life on the right path.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I was ready to go back to uni. I wanted to study. I wanted to apply myself. Didn't know what I wanted to be in life, but I got out that all that romanticized, oh, let's hitchhike across America and get odd jobs. No, that sucked. It's hard work. I miss my bed. I miss my mother. But we got that trip out of our system, and it was a life-changing event. One of the life-changing.
That's unreal.
Yeah, it was good fun. Hard.
Did you grow a beard?
No, actually, it wasn't good fun. That's just it. It was hard the whole time. No, I didn't grow a beard. I shaved, and I cut my hair very short. Remember, it's 1971, and I'm sure you've seen Easy Rider with Peter Fonda. No, you don't. Okay, Easy Rider. There's Jack Nicholson, Peter Fonda.
Boomer.
You gotta watch this.
Yeah.
And, long hair in the Midwest was a no-no. So everyone said, cut your hair. I said, I cut my hair.
Okay.
Yeah. So when they saw me, they didn't see a druggy, motorcycle riding bandito. They saw, oh,
He's a good peddler.
That was hard. That was hard.
And you did that with a mate?
Yeah, named George.
Not in contact with him anymore?
Absolutely, still in contact.
That is unreal.
He lives up in still upstate New York, in Syracuse. Yeah, we're in touch. I've seen him, it's almost about 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a great story.
That was a good story. That had a lot of fun. There were some funny things there. I mean, our first day of serious pedaling, we got lost, separated for 3 hours, he and I. He had pulled off, waiting for me because he was stronger. And I'm up and down these hills in Pennsylvania, really hard. And he's got to be at the next hill. And he was 3 hours. Finally, I just gave up, and a cop car came up, and I'm sitting by this, and the cop just looked. Yeah, I got the other one.
Yeah.
So he said, "Come on, son. Your mate's 3 hours." I said, "What?" I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I was waiting for you, so I pulled off." I said, "But I couldn't see you, so I kept thinking you're ahead of me." And the cop just shook. He said, "Yeah, I got the other one." That was very funny.
3 hours in.
Oh, dear. That was about day 2, really. It was day 2.
It was all downhill from there.
All day. I wish.
Yeah,
it was all uphill. It got harder. I got fit, though. Yes.
So you've done your university? Yeah.
Well, in that, going back after the bike trip, in the winter, I hated winters. It was brutally cold. I mean, it is brutally cold there in America, in the north. And my best friend at the time, the guy named Ron, who, yes, I'm still in contact with, it was his birthday on Friday. He said,
birthday, Ron.
we can go live in Israel and work on what's called a kibbutz, which is a socialist kind of farm for 3 months in the winter thing. Get credit for uni, but you don't need to speak Hebrew. You just go and you read a few books and you keep a journal. I said, I don't care. I'm there, just to get out of winter time.
And was it exactly what he said?
Oh, in terms of the course load, yeah. I mean, there was no course, but that was the next big event in my life that changed my life around. Because being Jewish from birth meant nothing to me.
Oh, okay.
I had my bar mitzvah, when you're 13 and your little party and blah, blah, blah. It was over. Going to Israel awakened in me, or cultivated in me, my connection to the history and the whole story of the Jewish people and Israel and blah, blah, blah. So the first 6 weeks we were there, I hated it. The second 6 weeks, it turned me into, the Jewish person I am today, with a commitment to Israel and Judaism and so forth. Not from the religious point of view, but just the whole who I am, ethnic identity type of thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's within that same year, bike trip, Israel, and then I finished uni. But I didn't know what I was going to be yet. And
Sorry, how old were you there? What?
20, 21.
I think that's a great age to start uni. That's what I think, because that's an age where you're starting to find yourself.
If I could have had a gap year like we do here, I would have. But the Vietnam War would have been my gap year, and I didn't want to go to the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
That's getting back to Vietnam. That was the funnel that kept you going. You couldn't just muck around.
Yeah.
Or just get a part-time job. I would have been drafted. So I had to go to uni for that reason, and I wasn't ready. I really wasn't ready.
For uni?
No. I only got ready for uni like in the last 2 years of it, when I really got my head straight. And I wasn't partying, I wasn't taking drugs, I never did any of that stuff seriously. I just didn't know what I wanted to do in life.
And then you found it in the 1 year.
Well, here's the next big piece of that puzzle. It was about 2 weeks ago in my undergraduate degree. I'd studied psychology. A nice, general, interesting course, but nothing you could go to work with. You needed a master's, I didn't want to go back to uni. I had enough. But I had to hand in a paper. So I go to the psychology department, and somewhere on a coffee table like this, there were stacks of university brochures and booklets and pamphlets and so forth. Because in America, the choice of unis is just like the choice of anything, a breakfast cereal. You go down an aisle in a supermarket in America for breakfast cereal. If you wanted to read every single label, it would take you a year. There's so many, right? Same with universities. I just picked the first one up, opened it up, and I swear to God, I said, that's what I want to do. And it was to become a teacher. For people who hadn't had undergraduate education in teaching, so you have a degree in this, you have a degree in that. You might even have life experience, but now you want to become a teacher. You run your own business, air conditioning business. I want to be a teacher. It's for you. And it was a really cool program at New Hampshire, University of New Hampshire. And I applied for that, did that, and then became a teacher as a result of that. So that was also, was it meant to be? Was it fate? Was it serendipity? Just a coincidence. But there, and I walked in to pick up that, waiting to see this professor and hand my paper, reading this thing. I said, that's what I'm going to do. How cool is that?
That is very cool. That is cool.
So an opportunity knocks, you got to open the door.
You got to hear the knock first.
And hear the knock, yes. And make sure yes.
Stranger danger, make sure you know who's look through. Ring your mum up. Can I answer the door, Mum?
Mom!
Someone's at the door.
And Woodstock was the year before I went to uni. Someone said, did you go to Woodstock? No, my mother wouldn't let me. And that's probably true.
That's not rock and roll. Yeah. Did you know people that went to Woodstock?
No.
Was it?
I was a little bit young, really. I was young. I was 17 that summer. And that was really mid-20s, a lot of those people, And that was a total schmozzle. You've seen the movie, you've seen the documentary. Yeah. Total schmozzle. But it was good fun.
But you kind of wonder if they blow it up to be a lot bigger than it was. Or that was it.
Well, in terms of size, it was. Yeah. It was huge. Did it change the world? This is the age of Aquarius, peace and love and harmony and understanding? Okay, boomer. No, it didn't change anything. But it was good fun.
Perfect. Finish uni. You then go...
Teach year 3 in North Conway, New Hampshire. Beautiful. New England. You've heard of New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. But I still wanted to go back to Israel.
Okay.
After those 3 months, I determined I'm going to go back to Israel and try to live there. So, taught 3rd grade. Had a great time. My friend Ron was in Boston, so we hung out every weekend almost. With George. George was there too. The bike riding George.
Sounds like a joke.
Yeah.
It's very mean.
Sundays in the Park with George. That's actually a Broadway movie. A Broadway musical. Sundays in the Park with George. I think it is. And so had 1 year teaching, a successful year. I was a little bit out there as a teacher. Very young, hippie-ish, progressive ideas. And I think I gave my poor principal major headaches, but he liked me. So
progressive as in what?
Well, when you think of a classroom, you probably think of a teacher's desk here, rows of students. Like every Hollywood movie you've seen, a typical classroom. Now, I had like islands set up here. I asked the local dairy for some of their milk crates. So instead of kids having a desk, they had their stuff in a milk crate, like a cubby, and they could sit wherever they wanted. Got some rugs, had a classroom meeting to start the day in a big circle on the floor. This was all sort of, at that time, revolutionary.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And why? Did you not think the old way worked? Or you just wanted to try something that worked for you?
I had done, this was part of my course, my teacher course, and I think I was lucky where I went for this degree in New Hampshire. The guys who ran it themselves were trying to break away from traditional, structured ways of teaching children to what was called open education. There was a famous book in the 70s called The Open Classroom, coupled with another book in America, Crisis in the Classroom. So I read The Open Classroom and Crisis in the Classroom and did a lot of other studying and writing and blah, blah, blah. I said, this is how I'm going to teach.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
So you make it back to Jerusalem?
Got back to Jerusalem. The point, I said I'm going to be here for 2 years. After 2 years, I'm coming home to New Jersey to pack up my stuff and make a permanent life in Israel, or I'm just going to come back. And you haven't asked me the most important question about my love life. I had none.
We need to edit that. He had none.
Not for want of trying. No, there were girlfriends here, but things were just so blah. I said, I'm not even going to worry about meeting anybody. I'm not going to have to meet I don't want to get married. I'm not going to meet my future wife for 45 years soon. Or 44 years. Better edit that one.
How do I have my coffee?
Hey Siri, how long have I been married?
You again.
And I just wanted 2 years to learn the language. And this is part of all what Zionism is. You've heard the word Zionism. And Zionism is for Jewish people, the connection to the land of Israel where the Jewish people got their beginnings as a group, as a people, established themselves, were dispersed for various reasons for thousands of years, came back, and now Trump's peace plan is going to make peace. No, it's not. It's not going to do a thing. And there's still going to be a conflict 100 years from now. But forget that for the minute. For Jews to be there to me, was very important.
Yep.
And I wanted to try it.
Had anyone in your family done this?
No.
Okay.
No, not even close. My parents were totally, as Jewish people, totally assimilated Jews. In other words, as American Jews, bacon and eggs Sunday morning, totally not kosher. Didn't observe any of the holy days except the 2 big ones during the course of the year. Little did I know, however, that my father had been in the American Army and was at Dachau, one of the concentration camps, at Liberation. Never talked about it till he was literally on his deathbed with me. And I never knew what things like that meant to him, because he just, like I said, he was a hard guy to get to know. A lovely guy, great guy. I will never say a bad thing about my father, but I acknowledge that it was hard for him. He survived the Depression. He survived World War II. He lost his mother while he was in World War II. She died in America. It was hard.
Yeah.
For all that generation. That's why they're called the greatest generation. And to come back and have the boomer generation, the baby boomer, who were just spoiled rotten. Anything we saw on television we wanted, buy that. And my father said, who is this kid?
Yeah.
I'm your son. It must have been hard for him.
Yeah.
And it was. And I acknowledge that. It wasn't easy for him in that sense. But so I wanted to go back to Israel. So go back to Israel. You have to arrange this through the Israeli government. They put me in a place to learn Hebrew in Jerusalem. And one morning, like after the first week, someone said, come on, we're all going to go down to the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea.
Where you can't drown.
You can't drown, and the Dead Sea today is just receded. It's almost gone.
Okay.
But at this point, the bus dropped you off here. The water was there, but they had some freshwater springs. So I went with my friend Ellie, another young fellow I met from America, and this Australian girl named Marion. Bingo! It wasn't instant, but that was where it all started.
You broke it down.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
It's called stalking these days.
In fact, after about 3 weeks, I said to her, you know what, I think we should... we were living together, by the way. This was where we learned Hebrew, was like a university dormitory, residence hall. Old and small, but so I'm on the 2nd floor, she's on the 3rd floor. So we never went out on a date. In that, every morning was breakfast, every night was dinner, every afternoon was lunchtime. She was in one class, I was in. We just lived together from day one, and then started to go out. But we didn't really. I never had to call on her and meet her mother and say, "Hi, Mrs. Case, and I'm here to." It was none of that. And I said, this has all happened much too quickly. Let's just cool things off, because I didn't want to come here to find a mate.
Yeah.
I wanted to maybe play around, play the field, whatever. And then day one, I found her. She was she was thoroughly understanding, as you could imagine, knowing her as you do.
Took that real well.
Whoa! Coyote, Wile E. Coyote, or whatever the
Your ears are still ringing.
But then a few weeks later, we went on a group tour down to the Sinai Peninsula under a full moon, and here we are today.
Yeah. Did you do the old?
No, it was she who did that. She said, we're unpacking this big bus, and we didn't have tents. You just slept under the stars. It was beautiful. should I put our sleeping bags together? You know, I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. And there we are. Then we got married in Jerusalem. We called my parents, we called her mother, and she had been communicating a lot to her mother about me. I didn't communicate a lot to my parents about anything, as you can probably know. To my mother, yes. My father, no, as we know. So I called up and I said, Dad, Mom, I'm getting married. And my father's question was, do you have to? Yeah. I mean, did I get her? I said, no. Thanks, Dad. I must have driven them crazy. I did. So they came for the wedding. We got married in Jerusalem.
That's good.
And Dad he loved the fact that I was there now. So a year later, not even a year, things just deteriorated. In Israel, life was very hard. I won't go into all the details. Marion was working. I was quasi-working. She had a proper job in a hospital because she was a hospital scientist. Here, in fact, when she went on her first trip as a sort of a young Jewish adults group tour, she was offered a job on the spot when the guy found out what she did.
Okay.
She said, put it in writing and I'll be back in 6 months. And he did, and she was. I had a bit more difficult because I still wanted to teach. And they said, you can teach English. I said, no, I'm not teaching English as a second language. If I'm going to make it here, I'm going to be a teacher like anyone else. That was stupid. I should have been an English teacher to start with.
Yeah.
Get into things a bit more, but I was being stubborn again. But it wasn't going to work regardless.
Okay.
Too hard, no family, no money, rough society. It's very modern today, and even today, there's a roughness and edge to Israel because of the whole nature of the Middle East. It's no one's fault. It's just the way
it is.
It's a tough neighborhood. As Bibi Netanyahu often, it's a tough neighborhood, and it makes tough people. Nice people. I love them, but it was hard. So that wasn't for us. So we went back to America.
So do you think that toughened you up a bit for life?
No.
It didn't affect you like that?
No, I don't have that toughness. Either have it or you don't.
Okay.
No, I'm not tough. I'm tough in certain ways. I can endure chin-ups and weightlifting and hiking, but not the tough with people.
Okay. As in to deal with people? Okay.
I'm not tough. I'm a softie.
Even as a teacher?
Especially as a teacher. Yeah, that's why I think I've had such good success as a teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, I was teaching with a woman in America who came into the staff room at playtime or lunchtime and said, I got that what's her name, Julie, a student. I broke her down. I got her to finally cry.
Oh.
I mean, Julie was the sweetest kid, a brilliant girl. You're glad you made a kid cry?
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Stupid woman.
You get it.
I never liked that. Not all of them, but many of them. That wasn't me. That was never me as a teacher. I mean, I had my issues with kids. I didn't let them run all over me, and we had rules, but there was a good rapport.
Beautiful. So back to America?
Back to America.
Good movie.
But before I go back into the classroom, I couldn't get a teaching job. Tried selling insurance. That was disastrous, obviously. And ended up selling ice cream on a Mr. Whippy type van, which the company was owned by a very good family friend. He said, I'll set you up. That's what he did. So I was selling ice cream. My daughter was born. I was an ice cream ding ding. Oh, no, there it was ding ding. Here it's, green sleeve.
Yeah.
12 hours a day. Oh, it was terrible. Counting, literally. I come home and count pennies, 1 cent piece, and put them in these little cardboard. Remember the cardboard sleeves or little paper sleeves to get 50 cents here? That's what I did.
How long did you do that for?
Well, it was May, June, July, August, and then I had 2 teaching interviews, and I got both of those jobs in one day.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, but and I just said, whichever one's paying more, I'm taking that one. So, it was also more close by to my parents, where we had been living, and we had a flat by then. But so then we taught. And all was going really, really well for another year until my father got stomach cancer.
Oh, okay.
So he gets stomach cancer on Marion's birthday. December 4th was his surgery in 1979. He lasted 2 years. Okay. My mother, she's still well. A year later, she gets leukemia. She died within that year. So within 5 years, we have 2 kids. Finally teaching, bought a little house in New Jersey. Both my parents died. and it was long and protracted and not easy. It was terrible.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was really hard. And I said to Marion, let's move to Australia. We've got nothing left here in terms of grandparents. Your mother is still here, and her mother is still here to this day. She's not going anywhere. Wow. She's 95 and a half now. Totally, more or less lost the plot, but we see her every Friday. So.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So
I love that.
we managed to sell the house. I got a visa, which also wasn't easy. Very hard, actually. This was 1984. I remember going to the consulate in New York City, the Australian consulate, and they said, do not sell your house. Do not quit your job until you get your visa. And I said, whoops.
Yeah. I think I'm...
Because I had given notice. I had to give notice to the school. And, oh, geez. Mary said, don't worry, of course you're going to get it. You're married to me. Being married to an Australian didn't help.
Oh, okay.
You need a certain number of points, right?
As in what you can offer Australia, or...
How much money do you have? And I didn't have any money, but you need to show you're not going to be on the dole.
Okay, yeah.
How's your health? Needed chest x-rays. And that's still standard procedure, I'm pretty sure. But they needed what's called a police check for the last 10 years of where you've lived. And I said, easy. What? Police? Me? 10 years included Jerusalem. This was pre-internet.
Okay.
Pre-email. So I run up to the consulate in New York for Israel, and I said, I need what's called a police clearance. And they knew all about it. Yeah, no worries. Fill this out. When will I get this? She goes, I don't know. It could be 3 weeks. Could be 3 months. I said, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Give up. That was hard. It came through eventually. We had already landed, and we worked things out, a temporary conditional visa, yada, yada. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That all worked out.
And you landed where?
Tullamarine.
Yeah. Where did you live?
Oh, we went to live with Mum in
Yep.
Kew. And I had a job also lined up at one of the Jewish day schools called King David School in Armidale. And that just also was serendipity because the position I got was called Director of Jewish Education, like Vice Principal, Director of the Jewish side of things. And my predecessor had quit to go somewhere else, so and Marion's father's cousin, was on the school board. Not that he had any pull, but we were able to send him my resume, and he handled it. Oh, this is perfect. I was sort of interviewed in absentia. I was interviewed in New Jersey by a rabbi who had gone to rabbinic school with the rabbi from Melbourne who knew each other. And he said, I'm just making sure you don't have 3 heads or something.
Yeah.
I said, well, no.
I got them removed.
Get back. So that all worked out. And here we were.
Was
a
it
new life.
Was it tough being Jewish coming to Australia in, is it 84?
85.
85?
No. Look, being Jewish for me has never been a problem. You know, there's anti-Semitism, we know that. And it's in Melbourne, we know that. It was in New Jersey, I never knew that. I never experienced, I had a really good not upbringing, but the kids in our school, the whole community, there were Italian kids and Greek kids. We didn't have any African American kids. They were in the other school, in the other community. But everyone got along. There were race riots in 1970, bad ones, in where I live. But in terms of anti-Semitism, hatred towards Jews, I never experienced a thing. When I met New Yorkers in Israel, New York Jew, one guy had a scar from here. I said, what's happening? Oh, he was once knifed, mugged because he was wearing his... I never experienced it. I've never experienced anything like that here. So, no, never has been hard.
Beautiful.
I'm lucky, yeah.
So you set life after you move out of Marion's mum's house?
Yeah, we lived in Ashburton, bought a house on auction. Loved that auction. I just kept going like this.
Like a gangster.
And I had my limit. I mean, we had our limit, and luckily went just for that. A 3-bedroom cream brick veneer, needed a lot of work, and I loved doing work on the house.
So you nodded.
And I liked it, and we lived there. We had a dog, Yofi, a border collie. The girls went to the school where I was working. I eventually became principal of King David School. Then I sacked myself because I wanted to go just back into teaching. I hated the administration. Then I moved on to another school called Bialik College, which is in East Hawthorne. And in 1996, that's when I became an Australian. I was watching telly, and they actually had ads. It's very hard to become an Australian citizen now. They're not encouraging anybody.
Yeah.
Back then, they wanted, are you a permanent resident? Have you lived here in 5 years or more? Think about becoming a citizen. I said, that's, again, someone's knocking on my door. I said, I should, because I came here to work at King David School. And so my whole Australian identity was King David. And when I left King David to move on, I realized I'm not here because of King David. I'm here because I live here.
Yeah.
It wasn't the job that I'm locked into, I'm connected to. So I said, I'm an Australian. And I became an Australian citizen in 1996.
And something happened recently as well, didn't it?
We'll come to that.
Yeah, we'll come to that. When did you and Marion start doing the adventure stuff?
We always liked traveling. Not adventure traveling, but we did a lot of camping. We camped in America with our girls. Not backpacking camping. You roll up to the campground. There are trailers, the American trailers, caravans that look like silver bullets. They're called Airstreams. They were actually old plane fuselages that some company converted into very luxurious, big caravans, as well as people in tents, and that's what we did. We had a powered site, we had a toaster, a little kettle, and the girls slept in a little tent of their own. We slept in our own. We had a lot of fun. And we came here, we went camping with Marion's cousins. We went to Waratah Bay, which is near Wilson's Prom. Totally got blown down in 1986. Then we went to Jindabyne, Lake Jindabyne in 1987. We camped in Echuca. So we did a lot of touring and camping here in Victoria. But in terms of what we did with you, that just came out of the clear blue. That was never on the cards. That was the Kokoka experience.
So the first time you did it was with
2013. With the same company. We had good Australian friends whom we had met in New Jersey. He had been seconded to the American Defense Department. He's an engineer here. He and a couple of mates, and there's a whole Australian clique in New Jersey where we were living at a local military base, so we got to know these people. He comes back, Dennis and his wife Meredith and their kids, and they lived in Bullingaruk, which is Gisborne area.
Okay.
Lovely guy. He like the man from Snowy River, a big Aussie, he had sheep, but he's an electrical engineer and he worked for the defense. He was a very lovely guy. And we're out there for lunch one day, and he had just done Kokoka. He showed us his album. That's interesting. And then he brought out the stick.
Hey.
I said, I want one of those. I just wanted it. I wanted to know that I've done something hard that... I run marathons in New Jersey. And, schlepper time, just mediocre, but you get a little mug. I love that mug. I have it to this day. I like associating an achievement with an artifact. So I saw his stick. He said, oh, they carve it for you, the natives. So I said to Marion, I'm going to go to this information evening at Edno Roads down in Sandringham. So we went to the information evening a few weeks later, and coming out of there, I said to her, I'm going to do it. She said, yeah, I know. And almost simultaneously, we said, but you're doing it as well. But I'm doing it as well. I said, good, you should, because we should both do it. And we did. Unfortunately, about a year later, Dennis, the fellow in Gisborne, died.
Oh.
Very strange. I don't know how. He had a sore shoulder, got infected. It could have been sepsis. I don't know.
Okay.
This was a big, strong, lovely guy. And he had already had his tragedies in his own life earlier, so this was terrible. So we've lost touch with his wife, but he was a good guy.
So the first Kokoka experience compared to the second one?
Well, the first one, we were just a group of strangers with no connection to each other. We had one or two hikes in Lederberg Gorge and maybe somewhere else with our local guide, a guy named George Buckhorn. He was actually a policeman, but he also was a guide for No Roads.
Yep.
And, same track, same experience, same views, food and everything. But there was never any connection with the people we were with. Mm. We liked each other, but I haven't seen any one of them since. Okay. We all said, we'll get together, blah, blah, blah. Our experience was different. Thanks in no small part to yourself and that other nut, Hamo, and Anthony. The three of you guys really were the kernel there of a real great social group. That was lovely. And it still is, as we know.
Yeah, all my friends are sick of hearing about my Kokoka story. In saying that, they've never heard it. Because I always say to them, do you know I've done Kokoka? Shut up with your Kokoka. Put your hand up if you've done Kokoka.
Sometimes it's funny to say, I've done Kokoka twice.
Cut.
And Marion said, yeah, me too.
I remember there was one stage at Kokoka that you were up ahead and I was standing with you and we're sort of waiting for everyone to turn up and you were sort of looking, I wonder if Marion's all right.
Yeah.
And next thing you hear, she's walking and
Yammering
talking.
away.
She's fine.
Actually, because the first time, after the first day, we thought she wasn't going to make it.
Yeah,
that was hard. Despite all the training, supposed training with it. The second time, we knew what we were getting into. She was much better prepared. I remember one time with us, I'm saying, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And then you see the next ridge up ahead. There she is. Good on you.
So how old were you when you did that?
Let's see. 2013, I was 61 when we did it the first time, and 62. And Marion was 63 and 65, probably, or 4. I don't remember. 2014.
That's unreal.
Yeah. No, look, mid-60s, anyone can do it. You know that. You know that. You just need to work at it.
Correct.
You need to work at it and be prepared to put up with interesting toilets. Interesting.
Remember how many times you poor bugger, he'd come out and be like,
oh.
And everyone was like,
and then one day I was like Rocky.
And everyone's, the whole village is like,
and Mick went nuts. Mick, I did it. Yeah, baby. Sorry for being crude, but you know what?
It was,
Bowels call, you got to move them.
Some of those toilets, they had the best views out, but when you were sitting in.
But there is that one, the flies just zoomed up like Old Faithful. The guys, they sense you coming. Oh no, I'll wait. That was hard.
Yeah, I think it was one of the
fun.
best things I've done. It
was awesome. I mean, I would love to do it again. I'm not going to. We did another hike after the Queen Charlotte Walk in New Zealand. Nothing at all. Nothing in comparison. But it was good to do it. We hiked last year with some friends, American friends who come back here periodically, the Larapinta Trail. That's outside of Alice Springs. And that was, there's no comparison to Kokoka. There just isn't. You know that. And people can't understand it unless they've done it.
How would you describe it? Because I've tried to describe, it's the physical and the mental.
I know. I was just showing someone a picture a few days ago of, I took a picture of the typical trail. What do you see? Rocks, mud, roots. Put your foot there, put your foot there. Yeah. People look at it and say, oh, that's nice, dear. They can't get it. They just can't get it.
You got to be there.
You got to be there. That's why when you meet someone, we met someone in South America who had done it, an Australian guy. We were on a little tour in South America, and he did it in 4 days. I said, what? He said, well, it was sort of not a race, but the plan was to do it fast.
Oh, okay.
He was a very young, fit runner. So he did it in 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. I don't know how you did that.
Nah.
I don't know. I just can't even picture. How did you do it? But he did.
Well, you wouldn't. I don't think you'd enjoy it.
No.
So I enjoyed the whole experience of stopping off at schools.
Exactly.
I enjoyed all that. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. It's not like an ultra 100-mile run in the desert to prove you can run 100 miles. Yeah. What's the point? Okay. Either you can or you can't. This was a whole different thing. It was great.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do it again.
No.
Only because I'd be worried not to be in a good group.
And you'll never surpass that. I mean, our second time was better than the first time. It really was. It really was. But I remember that first time finishing, nothing beat. That was crazy.
Yeah.
People were crying.
I had a beer.
Yeah, that was good.
Good beer.
Good beer. And not Fiji water, Kokoka water. We still have those bottles. We still use
Oh, really?
them. Yeah. So that was awesome. And of course, we got to meet you and the guys. And
perfect.
So that was wonderful.
The Three Stooges.
And actually, that was significant because it pushed me to retire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because officially I was still working in 2013. I was at the Jewish Holocaust Center. Then I left teaching and was at the Jewish Holocaust Center as Director of Education, but still teaching in a way. And I'd been there for 6 years and I really had enough of that. And I'd had enough of working. And after Kokoka, I said, this is what I want to do. Not Kokoka every week, but let's go traveling a lot more. And
you do.
We do. We're going to Africa in May.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Can't wait for that. That'll be awesome. And we took our girls and their families to Fiji in July of last year. That was awesome.
Bula.
Oh, that was great. Bula. They just loved it. And we want to go to Japan. We went to Antarctica. Went to Costa Rica. I want to get back to South America. A lot of things to do on the bucket list. But so at this age, you can do it. Or you better do it. Because if you're going to wait any longer, you never know.
Yeah, but you stay very fit. Both of you stay very fit.
We do work out a lot. I've always worked out a lot. I like that. But there's no guarantee of health. Fitness gives you better odds.
Correct.
But...
So how many times a week do you train?
4. I was 5. Now it's 4.
And what do you do?
CrossFit. Which every day is something different. Every day. So there's Olympic weightlifting, clean and jerk, snatch, clean and jerk, squats, lots of squats, wall balls, medicine balls, and you throw them to a target. And rope climbing, jump roping, double unders are called, which after 7 years I can finally get 30 in a row out.
Oh, doubles.
Doubles. You go one. So.
Do you have to make that noise?
I gotta breathe. That's what I gotta. Yeah. So no, CrossFit's really good, and it really is. It's a social event too, because the same blokes train together and women. We're all mixed groups, no age differences, nothing. Marion does one-on-one with the trainer the hour after I'm there, twice a week, and then I go home and I walk the dog.
You still doing your woodwork? I
am. I've been doing my wood turning, getting into a little bit other wood carving, just for me. It's just for fun.
I know you made Julie that timber thing, and she absolutely loves it. Yeah.
And I read. I'm still very active in the synagogue, of course, volunteering there. I volunteer at an old age home where I give a weekly talk. Now it's called Behind the Headlines. So I choose something in the news and then talk about it, but not just what happened, but so this week, tomorrow, I'm talking about Waitangi Day,
which is
New Zealand's, not their independence. It's like their Independence Day.
Okay.
That's when the Maori signed a treaty with the British, the Treaty of Waitangi, where the British and they came to a very good understanding of how the country and land would be managed and shared and so forth. It wasn't perfect, and things went wrong shortly thereafter, but it's looked at as a very good example of how the British could have done better than they did in other places in the world.
Oh, okay. Like Malta.
Very likely. Yeah. So that's Waitangi Day was the 6th of February.
And where do you do this? At a retirement home?
Yeah. Just across the street from the synagogue where you were on Hawthorne Road there.
Yeah.
Called Emmy Monash Home. And I've been going there for 4 years. This is my 4th year. Just volunteering.
Because you used to volunteer teaching as well?
At the synagogue I do. The kids for the bar mitzvah. That's their coming of age thing when they're 13.
Because I remember you used to do a school. Was it in Yarra?
I was coming out here. No, right here in Dandenong West. Dandenong West Primary School. My first year of retirement, but that didn't work the second and third year because their timetable was totally out of whack with my timetable. I'd get here at 10 o'clock. It was playtime. Then it was going to be something else. By the time I got to work with kids, I've been sitting waiting for an hour and a half or whatever. Yeah. The first year was great. The teachers saw me. This is what I need you to do. You're going to work with those 2 kids. Right, let's go. The other 2 years, it wasn't that good. So I just said that's enough of traveling out here. And I was seeing that Sudanese gentleman, teaching him English also that same morning. And that was very rewarding, but that's very difficult because he became... No, I shouldn't put it on him. The relationship just evolved to be more... I was a social worker. And I'm not a social worker.
Yeah.
I can teach you English. I can talk about the news. I can get... But he needed filling out forms, and it's hard. I mean, God, it's very hard. And I said, this is not... You need someone much more adept at this than I was. So we parted ways amicably. It wasn't a problem. I just said, I've had enough.
Is retirement what you thought?
I don't know if it's what I thought. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I can give you a hint, and anyone else watching it. Before I retired, someone who was volunteering where I was working at the Holocaust Center, she gave me some very good advice. Have a plan. Before you retire, know what you're going to do with your time. Because if you think you're just going to wake up and say, right, okay, what are we going to do? You can't do that.
Yeah.
So I knew before I retired that I had this school teaching lined up. I had something else lined up. I was already still at the synagogue once a week in the afternoon, just enough to keep things structured.
Yeah.
And since then, it's morphed and evolved, and now I don't know how I'm going to spend some days, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So it's been very, very good. Some people think, oh, if you retire, you're going to miss work. I don't miss working at all.
No.
No, I love teaching, but of having to go to work every single day, it's hard. It was, I mean, I'm not complaining. We all do it.
Yeah.
And I had it easy. I was a teacher. I wasn't a coal miner.
I don't think that's easy.
I wasn't a coal miner. I wasn't, on the seas for 6 months at a time, merchant marines, God forbid, whatever. Or a heart surgeon with people's lives in their hands. I went to school. I had kids. I had homework to do. It was relatively low impact in terms of exercise terminology. So I'm not, but it's nice not to work, that's all. And I don't have many years left in my life. Did you know that?
No.
I have fewer now than I did yesterday.
And about 2 minutes ago.
No, I'm not being morbid.
No, that's all right.
But
we're all like that.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. And I'm now older than my father was when he died, and my mother, which is just the way it is. It was a landmark to surpass. And when I did, I'm very grateful. I'm much better shape than he was physically, health-wise. Obviously, I'm alive. He's dead at the same age. But
that's the scale.
Yeah, that's how you evaluate these things. I'm better off than he is. So you never know. You never know what the future holds.
And that's what I love about you, both of you. You embrace life, and you just...
Hold on. I can get down in the dumps. I can get depressed. I can get
all
morose. But I can also get out of it. And I know it comes and goes. So
there's not many people that I know at your age that are as giving. I mean, for your volunteer work.
No, there are lots of people do things, and it's nice. And I could do a lot more, and I still may. I don't know what. I still may. We'll see.
But I think just take it as a compliment.
Thank you.
I think it's
yeah, I know we don't take compliments well.
Not very well.
Yeah.
Also, photography. You're doing a lot of that.
I love my photography.
And you're taking some unbelievable shots. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I just like photography, and I'm not going to be professional photography. It's not going to be like, recently discovered photographs of an amateur photographer. Where has he been all these? No. They're for me and for Marion and the kids and everything. So I do like them, yes. I've been doing flowers. You've seen the flowers?
I have.
Yeah.
Was that a bird the other day that was hiding in the plant?
Wasn't that beautiful?
That was, yeah.
It's right there in
Did
the
you
arch.
do this?
There's a very intimate. Yeah, there's a bird on a nest. It's just a pigeon.
But it's a nice photo.
And I could just see the eyes, so I just zoomed in and played around with it. And yeah, that was good fun.
Do you print any of them out?
Yes, you have to print. You're a photographer? No. Oh. Print anyway.
You are now.
There was a great show on Channel 10 a few months ago called Photograph Number 6. I don't know when it was on. We watched it on Catch Up, on the iPad or something. An actor, an Aussie actor, he's well known, I forget his name, and his mate traveled around the world, and their whole premise was people with their iPhones and cameras take trillions of photos, trillions are being uploaded. To do what with? You ever look at your photos? You ever scan through them?
Yeah.
Very rarely. And he said, we got to get back to when film was expensive and you took a picture. You couldn't take 100 shots of it and then scroll through and take, because film was expensive. In other words, it's getting more mindful about what you're taking.
Yeah.
So they would take photographs and then choose the top 5 from each destination that really encapsulated the whole experience. And then one was photograph number 6 was the best. So they went to Iceland, London, and some and you hear them talking about it. They were a very funny couple of guys too, but their rationale and why they would say, nah, not that. and they print them. He said, you got to print. So I print them, and I put them on my easel. I have 2 easels on coffee tables, and I print them at A3 size, and they're in a frame, not a picture frame, but just the mat. And I take them out, put them in a box, take old ones out, put them back in, keep
beautiful.
shuffling around.
Yeah.
And to me, it's my life. It's my memories.
And that's why I love in our house, we've got the photos of holidays and Kokoka and the Komodo dragons and all that. And I find myself just staring at them sometimes, just going, that was cool.
Remember that? Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. In fact, for the kids, my grandkids, I made them each a little souvenir book of photographs that I took of them from Fiji.
Yeah.
And Naomi, my younger daughter, said, I said, did Emmett, my grandson, did he like the book? He says, it's on his bed. I said, if it makes it onto his bed when he sleeps, that's royalty. He sleeps. I said, okay.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I still like my photography. Still doing a lot of reading. Something else I'm trying to do now. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I tried making sausages.
And?
I'll have to come back. But suffice it to say, last weekend is known as the Great Sausage Disaster of 2020.
And you're the star?
I'm the star. It was not good.
What happened?
Oh, God. I don't know. I don't know. But
in your head it was perfect.
I have this electric little grinding machine, which we've used to make chopped liver for the Jewish holiday. Okay. And I look at how to make sausage. It had a sausage attachment. So I got some sausage skins, blah, blah, blah. Got the meat, got the fat. You need 20% fat. It just became like soap.
Oh, yum.
Imagine it, grinding and this mush. Nothing's pouring out. You back it up, and you see this plug of gray muck. That was lamb just 2 minutes ago. I don't understand it. I didn't throw it away. I made meatballs. I made kebabs.
We're not getting
and they're very good. But I couldn't, and the sausage skins were the wrong size for the thing. And oh my God. So I tried making sausages. Always keep learning.
Take 2.
Oh, I do bake. I like to bake bread and desserts and stuff. Yeah, that's just, I do that just as a matter of course. And gardening. Oh, my garden. Yeah, new garden beds this year. I made wicking beds.
Oh, okay.
Because the garden strip down our driveway is about this wide.
Yep.
But I was able to grow tomatoes in there and other vegetables. But here's our garden strip. Here's fence. Here's neighbor. Just the other side is this huge hedge now. I forget what it's called. And it is just pulling all the nutrients and water out of the soil.
Oh, okay.
So my other neighbor said, look into wicking beds. Effectively, what a wicking bed is, very quickly, it's a self-contained garden bed with a reservoir of water and stone and gravel in the bottom, which wicks up into the ground above. So whatever's on the other side is not going to get in there because it's just, and we're doing really well.
Beautiful.
Really well. Some nice tomatoes. In fact, I think you saw some, I'll put them on Facebook when I get home, actually. New tomatoes, really going well, so I like doing that. Yeah, look, we're happy. And we have who else is in our family? There's Marion, there's me, Poogie.
Hey!
My puppy, our dog, who we love dearly, and we walk her about 5 times a day, and,
She did the trial walks with us.
She did a lot of walks with me.
Yeah.
So life is good. Life is short. Live it up. You know who said that? Life is short, live it up? Nikita Khrushchev, the head of Russia during the Cold War. Of all people, life is short. Live it up. In Russia?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Live it up the way we tell you.
No, but seriously. So it'll be another challenge. Something else to do.
What is something you would tell your 20-year-old self?
I've heard these. I don't get the whole premise of this. What I know now, I think what I wish I don't believe in regrets.
No.
It's a ridiculous concept. What's the point of having regret? When I look at me at 20, I did what I wanted to do. I did the best I could. I think I should have been better to my own parents. I wasn't a bad kid, but I tended to take without asking. I assumed they would give me money. Not give me money, but send me to uni. Sure, I want to go to Israel. Okay, I'm riding my bike across America this summer. Okay, and we never talked about these things. I told them, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm doing. Get used to it. And that wasn't very nice. And I think that's something I would do differently now, being a parent myself.
Yes.
Of kids who are in their 40s now. Unbelievable. But I don't regret that. That's just who I was, and you live with
No,
what you
I don't
got,
think
yeah.
I don't think speaking to yourself as a 20-year-old's regretting, but it's exactly what you said. See, when you said to your dad, "I'm going to drop out of school or uni," and he said, "Yep,"
That's okay.
which
He
may
said-
have been the same things. I'm going to ride across America. He would have said.
Yeah.
He may have said, "Yep, that's good."
Well, he knew that too. He said, when you come back from the trip, we'll sort it out. I felt like saying, Dad, is that really you? Put my real father on the phone. Because that was really how he was able to say that. I don't know. He must have talked to my mother at length, and yeah, good on him. Well done, Dad. Really, really. In fact, I called him from that bike trip once, and he said, "I'm so proud of you." It's the only time I've ever heard him say that.
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't give him reason to be proud of me. I wasn't doing anything really to be proud of. I was just living a normal life. No, I'm not saying that to put myself down. I wasn't a great athlete. I didn't get great grades. I did all right. But he liked that, so that
But
was
if
really good.
you can be proud of your kids for being good people.
My dad was the kind of dad, if he got a 95% on a test, said, "What happened?
Oh, really?
What did you get wrong?" Yes.
Then my dad would be go, "Who did you cheat off?" And you need to not get caught.
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
That's fantastic.
So, okay, Boomer, I know. Okay, Boomer, you've talked enough. You're falling asleep over there. I see on your face. That's okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was absolutely beautiful.
And my agent will be in touch about the residuals.
Yeah, it's in the mail. Thank you once again.
No worries.
Love it.
Great idea.
If you'd like to follow us on our social media handles, we're on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram. That's it. You should be very proud of yourself because I normally fuck this up. Today's the first time I did it.
Well,
And Julie's texting the president to let her know.
He's finished.
It's a wrap.
the president. Oh, I'm married to the boss. You got the president.
We just got our bloopers.
Okay, Boomer, whatever.
I was going to say, okay, boomer.
Boomer.
Yeah, you should. I want you to say that,
We've got to
please.
have in the background going, "Boomer."
Boomer.
So when I look blank, we need the boomer. Tarzan, you
Very
there?
interesting.
It looks
But
nice
stupid.
from this side.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm channeling there? Very interesting, but stupid.
My mum, because she says it a lot when she sees me.
How did my audition go?
You've got it.
You're in.